You are watching No Filter with Debbie. These are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? What's driving me crazy is the George Floyd trial, which again is not the George Floyd trial, but everybody calls it that, including me. It's actually the Derrick Chauvin trial. George Floyd should be put on trial, and he is to the extent that the judge in this case allowed it. In fact, the judge in the case won't let the defense attorneys tell you about multiple arrests, George Floyd's multiple incidents in his serial criminal history, his stints in jail, all of that. You won't hear that if you're following the trial, which I am. What you will hear, though, is about Derrick Chauvin. A lot of the incidents in his career that have no relation to this case, that bear no relationship whatsoever, you will hear about those. So we're hearing a lot of extraneous matter in this case, a lot of things that, again, have nothing to do with police officer Derrick Chauvin's guilt or innocence. It should all come down to one thing, which is his knee on the neck. Is that an acceptable police tactic? Was he trained for that? And also, is that the cause of George Floyd's death, which I showed you on this show several weeks ago, maybe even more than a month repeatedly before that. The very first autopsy, which is the only non political one, it's the only one that should count in this case, showed that George Floyd had 11 nanograms, at least 11 nanograms of fentanyl in his system. He had more of another derivative of fentanyl in his system. He also had pot in his system. He had methamphetamines in his system. He was in poor health. We've gone over this. He had a heavy heart, which means that there was blockage to his heart. A major artery was blocked. He had a lot of other things going on. He tested positive for COVID. There was testimony about that today, actually. And he had a bad heart. He was in poor health. He had a lifetime of being a drug addict. What came out today, by the way, was that he was rushed to the hospital many times just in the past year before his death. Just months before his death, just a month before his death, and just 2 months before his death, and just 3 months before his death. So, three times he was taken to the hospital because he had overdosed and he was having episodes and could have died each of those times. This time he did die. Was it because of those drugs? It appears that it was. That's what the medical examiner said on the first autopsy. I'm not talking about the second one where they made him redo it, or the third one that the family hired somebody else to do. Those things don't count and they shouldn't count. So I've been following the trial. There is a lot of extraneous stuff. As I told you, there should be only one question, and that is whether or not, or two questions, I guess it's a joint question, whether or not what Derek Chauvin did was called for and was an acceptable police tactic in the circumstances, and whether or not that is what was the cause of George Floyd's death. Everything else is extraneous, and meaningless. It should not be in the case, but prosecutors do this. If you've been following the case, there is an army of lawyers. There are at least 5 different lawyers so far that I counted in the prosecution team. There's only one defense attorney, just one. And I think he's handling them like the way David handled Goliath. These 5 attorneys are trying to bore the jury to death so that when the real information comes forth, which is the autopsy, everybody will be so bored, their eyes will be so glazed over, they'll be so tired and eager to get out of there, they won't pay attention that this is the smoking gun in the case. Not the smoking gun for conviction, but most likely the smoking gun for acquittal. And it doesn't matter whether or not you like Derrick Chauvin, think he was a good guy or not. How would you know? We don't know this guy. We only know what the media has said. We only know what we've seen in snippets of video with his knee on George Floyd's neck. None of that should matter. You shouldn't care if he's a good guy or not, if he's a good cop or not. You should only care about what happened in that instance in those few minutes. By the way, now the prosecution says it's 9 minutes and 20 seconds. I don't know if they're correct, but let's say it is 9 minutes and 20 seconds. First, we were told it was 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Then we were told, no, that was wrong. It was actually 7 minutes and 46 seconds. A lot of media still say the 8 minutes and didn't correct themselves to the 7. And now we're being told that it's 9 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, is that a major difference? Not really. But when every second counts, yes, maybe it is. And it just goes to show you cannot believe media accounts. They told you one thing when it may actually have been another. Facts matter, and they don't care about them. The jury should care about those facts, and we hope they're getting the right ones. So, there are many witnesses being called. I talked about the extraneous evidence. There are many witnesses being called who were watching what happened outside Cup Foods. Most of them were not there from the very beginning. Most of them did not see the whole episode. It is safe to say that almost all of them did not see from the beginning of when the police arrived until George Floyd was taken into the ambulance. Most of them arrived when the officers' knees were already on the back and neck of George Floyd. And in fact, at some point, Derrick Chauvin's knee is on George Floyd's shoulder and his back, not his neck. And there was testimony to that today. So most of these people were not there. Why are they there testifying about what they saw when we have video? And some of the video was taken by some of these people, or some of them watch video. Why should they be able to testify about something we can see for ourselves? There is video. What do you need people to say, well, I saw this and then this happened? We don't need that. We have the video. If I, as an attorney, and I am a criminal defense attorney, if I, in a trial, were asking all these witnesses to talk about things that are on film that we don't need them for, every single judge I know of would tell me in very strong terms to move along and stop asking questions because we have the video. The only questions that should be asked of these witnesses is, did you take this video? Was it altered in any way? What is the chain of custody of this video? Does this video accurately depict what you saw? And then that should be it. Sadly, it isn't. We heard from a teenage girl who took video. We heard from a mixed martial art fighter who took video and who can be heard calling out to the police and calling Derrick Chauvin a bleeping bum repeatedly throughout the whole thing, which that's very prejudicial as well. We heard from many other people that we don't need to hear from. They have nothing to add to the case beyond the video and beyond authenticating the video if they took it. When we come back, we will get into some of the witnesses that have testified yesterday, the day before, and today, including George Floyd's girlfriend. And she had some very interesting things to say. We'll show you what they are after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Hi, Hunter Ellis here for Night Hero Binoculars by Atomic Beam. These binoculars let you see anything, even in pitch black darkness. Gotcha.
The secrets are powerful wide-angle atomic beam laser, that reveals objects up to 150 yards away hidden by darkness.
During the day, Night Hero gives you 10 times magnification. And when the sun goes down, press the Night Bright button to see clearly in the dark.
Light up garbage-eating critters or spot thieves before they even get close.
Call or click now and get Night Hero binoculars for just $39.99. Order right now and you can double it. Plus, get our best-selling atomic beam flashlight, just pay a separate fee. We'll even ship them to you free. This TV special offer is not available on Amazon. You can get it all, but you have to order now.
Call 1-800-619-1091. That's 1-800-619-1091. Or visit bynighthero.com. That's bynighthero.com. Order now.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Almiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Almiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Almiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms.
This drug remains approved by the FDA.
If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we're talking about the Derrick Chauvin trial regarding the death of George Floyd. I want you to take a look at the opening statements, and then we'll get into some more of the witnesses. Take a look.
Also going to learn that the officers take an oath when they become police officers. They take an oath that I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately. And as you will learn, as applies to this case, never employing unnecessary force or violence, because you will learn that on May 25th of 2020, Mr. Derrick Chauvin betrayed this badge when he used excessive and unreasonable force upon the body of Mr. George Floyd.
And you will learn that Derrick Chauvin did exactly what he had been trained to do over the course of his 19-year career. The use of force is not attractive, but it is a necessary component of policing.
The force that Mr. Chauvin was using was lethal force. It was force that was capable of killing a human or putting his or her life in danger. The evidence is going to show you that there was no cause in the first place.
Common sense is the application of sound judgment based upon a reasoned analysis. And that's what this case is ultimately about. It's about the evidence in this case. The evidence that you will see in this case during this trial. It is, I agree with counsel for the state, it is nothing more than that. There is no political or social cause in this courtroom. But the evidence is far greater than 9 minutes and 29 seconds. At the conclusion of this evidence, you will be instructed as to the law, the elements of the offense, and the court will give you detailed instructions on what you must find to convict Mr. Chauvin of these charges. But when you review the actual evidence, and when you hear the law and apply reason and common sense, there will only be one just verdict, and that is to find Mr. Chauvin not guilty.
He's absolutely right based on what I have seen so far. And as I've said, they are trying to distract the jurors away from the evidence with all kinds of people who knew George Floyd, who thought he was a nice guy, his girlfriend, others. They're trying to humanize him. Well, great. We know George Floyd was a human. He was a human who OD'd. He overdosed. So what? He was a human with a criminal past that the jurors won't get to hear about. But he was also a human with a drug problem that all the media stories told us he had turned around, he had turned over a new leaf. That's why he came to Minnesota and abandoned his young daughter that you've seen in all the videos, who got the Disney stock from Barbara Streisand, who's gotten all kinds of college scholarships. I think she's what, like 6 years old? And she's getting all of this stuff, 7 years old. He wasn't in her life. He wasn't in the life of any of his 5 children with 5 different women. You won't get to hear about that, but you will get to hear about what a nice guy he was. Now, if you don't think his behavior and his criminality was relevant, which I think it was based on his behavior where he was resisting arrest at every step of the way, then why the fact that he was a nice guy and turned over a new leaf, why is that relevant? What does it have to do with whether or not he died at the knee of, and because of the knee of Derrick Chauvin? It has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. He could have been a horrible person, and Derrick Chauvin's knee could be the cause. Or he could be a super nice guy, and Derrick Chauvin's knee is not the cause, as the first autopsy shows. Again, he had 367% of the amount for a fatal overdose. 3 nanograms, not 3 nanograms, is what would cause a fatal overdose. He had 11, and that's in addition to the pot in his system, the methamphetamine in his system, the derivatives of fentanyl in his system. So I think that this prosecutor did a much better job than, the defense attorney did a much better job than the prosecutor. I think he tried to focus the jurors on, you will hear a lot of things, but he was trained in this. This was called for. It's not attractive, was one of the things he said. You didn't see that in that clip, but he said in his opening statement, it's not attractive, but it is a tactic that he was trained to use in some of the most extreme circumstances, in which this was one of those cases, because George Floyd resisted arrest the entire time. He was in the back of the police car. He was outside of the police car, and each time he was resisting the police, and he was saying, I can't breathe, each of those times when nobody's knee was on his neck, and he wasn't on the ground. He was just standing there or just sitting there. And the reason he said, I can't breathe, is because he's on drugs. And we will talk about this in a little bit, how he said, I can't breathe on other occasions. Other occasions where he was rushed to the hospital because of drug overdoses, which happened quite frequently in his life, in his recent life. And that is entirely relevant to this case. So, prosecutors on Tuesday, it's very interesting to me. On Tuesday morning, the judge heard a motion that the prosecutors filed. They were asking the judge to shield many of these witnesses that you saw and heard from who took videos. And they also were asking the prosecutors not to show the video, or the prosecutors were also asking the judge not to show the video. Why would the prosecutors not want the public, which this case is being broadcast around the world, definitely around the country. You can see it streaming live. Why would the prosecutors not want people, the average citizen, the average person in the public, to see these things? What were they trying to hide? Well, I don't know, and you don't know. You might have some guess, and maybe you should put that on our Facebook page, our No Filter with Debbie Facebook page, or tweet at us. But there was a reason they wanted to hide these things. There was the teenager that took the video. She apparently got to testify off camera. But none of this should be hidden. She is now an adult. She's 18. And frankly, everybody deserves to see this. Not only should the accused face his accuser, but also the accused, the American public should get to see his accuser, since this case has basically destroyed America in less than a year. Now, there's that. There is, we just have a short amount of time before the break, but I'm going to play you this video of a crying witness and CNN's reaction. It's just way over the top. And it's prejudicing Derrick Chauvin's chance at a fair trial. Take a look.
You okay?
Yeah.
I know that this is difficult. Can you just explain sort of what you're feeling in this moment?
I feel helpless. I don't have a mama either. I understand him. My mom died June 25th.
Hang on just 1 second, Mr.
Let's take a 10-minute break.
We'll take a little break.
Okay, we're gonna come out of this. Oof, forgive me. Just watching a grown man, Ellie Honig saved me, former federal prosecutor, just watching that. I think that's the first time we've just seen the police officer body cam and hearing this grown man on the ground saying, "I can't breathe," over and over and over again, and you.
She's not a very good actress. That's Brooke Baldwin, who thankfully is leaving CNN. She's been pushed out by others, and she's going to be gone from there. She is leaving. She is full of BS. This is crap what she is saying. Because the fact is, he said, "I can't breathe," over and over again on other video, when he was walking around and not getting in the cop car, when he was in the cop car, when he got out of the cop car. He said, "I can't breathe," repeatedly. This is not the first time, and she's seen this video before. Plus, this video was shown in the opening statement of the prosecutor. We didn't show it to you. We're only an hour show. But she saw that. It's not the first time we've seen this. So there's that. But then there is this actual witness. What did he add to this? He started crying? What does that have to do with whether or not Derrick Chauvin did this with his knee? Nothing. He's talking about, "My mom died June 25th. His mom has nothing to do with the case. That has nothing to do with the case. This is highly prejudicial. These jurors are supposed to feel bad for this guy. I would feel bad for him that he just lost his mother. But again, this is extraneous stuff that is designed to and is going to cloud the judgment of the jurors away from actual facts. We have to stop having this emotional stuff. But they're putting in this emotional stuff because they want to bias the verdict. All right, when we come back, today, Derrick Chauvin's girlfriend testified. And like I said, she had some very interesting things to say that don't help the prosecution. And also, George Floyd was there with his drug dealer who won't testify. We'll show you all of that and tell you about it after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Introducing the Cool Turtle, the ultra-comfortable mask enhancer that creates a protective, cool, and breathable space between your mask and your face. Simply slide under any mask or gaiter and immediately feel the refreshing pocket of air surrounding your face. Cool Turtle's ergonomically designed, soft, comfortable shell immediately reduces mask friction, allowing you to breathe and talk in a comfortable environment.
I can actually breathe. With the Cool Turtle, no more sweating.
It's like I don't even have a mask on.
Call now and get not one, not two, but 3 Cool Turtles for just $10. Order now and we'll send you 2 more Cool Turtles free. No fees, absolutely free. Plus, you can get a 10-pack of 4-ply face masks. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon. Get the real Cool Turtle now.
Call 1-800-270-1219. That's 1-800-270-1219. Or visit getcoolturtle.com. Order now.
Beck News brings you real people and real news. Every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.
Indoor football is back in Bismarck. Bucks football season is right around the corner. Grab a friend or family member for a night of action-packed, hard-hitting entertainment. The Bucks open at the Bismarck Event Center May 8th as they take on the Massachusetts Pirates. Catch the sweetest seats in the house right on the sidelines with VIP service at a Bucks turf table. Available now for single-game purchases. Secure your tickets today by calling 701-595-0771. Bucks football, half the field and double the fun.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream sheets. When you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So we are talking about the George Floyd trial, which again, it's not the George Floyd trial, it's the Derrick Chauvin trial. But we're being told what a great guy George Floyd was by the prosecutors. And he may be a great guy. His history and his record don't bear that out. A long criminal history, put a gun to a pregnant woman whose home he broke into, did several years in prison for that, got a very good plea deal for that I probably could not get for my clients when he did, as a result of doing that, especially given his criminal history before that. Has 5 children with 5 different women, wasn't in any of their lives. In fact, moved away from his young daughter's life in Texas to, I believe she's in Texas, in order for him to live in Minneapolis to turn over a new leaf, which he certainly did not, if you believe the testimony of his girlfriend and hospital records that show that he went to the hospital several times in the year before and in even the few months before his death. So let's take a look at clip number 1 of Courtney Ross, George Floyd's girlfriend.
Yes. Is that the person you know to be Maurice Hall?
Yes.
And can you just generally describe what he's wearing?
Red hat, red pants, and a black and white shirt.
Okay. And that is up in the upper right-hand corner. Would you agree that that has the date of May 25th, 2020?
Yes.
And that's the person that both you and Mr. Floyd had previously purchased controlled substances.
All right, so you heard that testimony. It was cut off a little bit, but she was asked about a man named Maurice Hall, and we actually got this video from somebody watching the trial who's taking clips, so that's why it's cut off a little. But it's very clear that she said that Maurice Hall is their drug dealer. She was asked by the defense attorney if that is the guy who they bought their drugs from, their narcotics from, and she said yes. So Maurice Hall, and there he is. He, by the way, was subpoenaed to testify by the defense. And guess what? He has refused. He has asserted his Fifth Amendment rights against self-incrimination. Why? Because he's a drug dealer. And he was with them. He was with George Floyd and his girlfriend outside Cup Foods when all of this went down. I don't travel with my drug dealer. I don't do drugs, so I don't have a drug dealer. But if I did, I think I'd be smart enough not to be traveling around with him. I think that shows how they were really entangled into the drug user lifestyle. They were addicts. Only addicts would be traveling around with their drug dealer. His drug dealer was right there because he probably just gave him the drugs that he used. That's very significant. So remember that name, Maurice Hall. That is their drug dealer. He was there. He has refused to testify. All right, let's take a look at clip number 2.
What kind of photograph is this?
I would call it a dad selfie.
And why would you call it that?
I'm just joking, but a lot of dads sometimes don't have the best angle when they take selfies. It's kind of lower and I don't know, don't take the time to maybe do the certain angles that everybody else does.
And so this is you believe, a selfie that he took?
Yes. Right. I believe it was outside of the Salvation Army.
Do you recall about roughly when this was taken?
From the sweater he was wearing, I think it was the fall of 2017.
A dad selfie taken outside of Salvation Army. What does it have anything to do with the events of those minutes or of that day or of what happened there? Nothing. It has nothing to do with it. She's talking about the kind of angles he takes and that dads don't take those angles. What is this, like a lesson in how to be a Kardashian and have the best photos on social media? This is absurd. But again, this is the prosecution's attempt to distract the jurors from what is at stake and what is at issue in this trial. And this should not be happening. The judge should be moving this along, but he's letting them do this. This is their attempt not only to distract the jurors, but to humanize George Floyd. And again, as I've said, we know he's a human. We know that. He's also a human who overdosed. That's why he's dead, all right? When we come back, we have a lot more clips from Courtney Ross, and we will tell you some more about the trial and a big celebrity who thinks Derrick Chauvin shouldn't get a trial. They should just lock him up immediately. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and as you know, my passion is to help each and every one of you get the best sleep of your life. That's why I created my new Giza Dreams bed sheets. I started by using the world's best cotton called Giza. It's only grown in a region between the Sahara Desert, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Nile River. It's ultra soft and breathable, but extremely durable. My Giza sheets also include full 21-inch wide pillowcases that will fit over any pillow and deep pocket sheets that will fit over any mattress. The first night you sleep on my sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now to get your very own MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets. Giza Dream Sheets are available in a variety of colors. Use your promo code, and for a limited time, when you buy one set of sheets, you'll get another set absolutely free.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Non-attorney spokesperson. This is a paid advertisement for legal services sponsored by Nightline Legal. Cases assigned on a random basis to participating law firms. This drug remains approved by the FDA. If you or a loved one regularly took Zantac and were later diagnosed with cancer, call right now. You may be entitled to financial compensation. Potential cancers include bladder cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer, stomach cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer. Do not stop taking a prescribed medication without first consulting with your doctor. Discontinuing a prescribed medication without your doctor's advice can result in injury or death.
Call 1-800-230-9210.
Seniors, are you aware that you could pay less for your car insurance?
Seniors can save money on their car insurance.
You might save a little, you might save a lot.
Maybe hundreds of dollars a year.
You might save 5% a year, maybe 10%, 15%, or even more.
That's a lot of money.
So call right now and find out just how much money you might be able to save.
1-800-699-0761. 1-800-699-0761. Hi, it's me, Anthony Sullivan. And yes, you've actually caught me at home relaxing because life's been pretty worry-free since I got coverage with American Residential Warranty.
You won't believe what ARW covers. Heating and air conditioning, washers and dryers, kitchen appliances, plumbing, water heaters, electrical systems, flat screens and laptops, even pools and spas, and so much more.
Call American Residential Warranty. They'll get you covered.
1-800-219-1467.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie. On Beck, we're talking about the George Floyd, Derrick Chauvin trial regarding George Floyd's death and whether or not he is guilty of causing that death. Whether or not he's guilty of second-degree or third-degree murder, or whether he should be acquitted. Also, manslaughter is one of the charges. So, we are going through some videos of Courtney Ross, George Floyd's girlfriend. And a lot of things she's saying are not relevant, but some of them actually are relevant. Take a look at this next video, number 3.
And the pills that we're talking about in May.
Yes.
I can't remember if you told me, did you see Mr. Floyd take any of those pills?
Yes, we took them together that time.
I'm sorry.
We did take them together that time.
And when he took those, obviously he didn't die, right?
No, he did not.
Did you see how they affected him?
He had a lot of energy.
And but he was okay after using them?
Yes, he was playing football, hanging out, eating. Just a normal day.
So, George Floyd and this girlfriend of his, and he may have other girlfriends, we don't know. This is the one that was there on that day. George Floyd and this girlfriend are codependents. They are drug addicts, both of them, and they feed off of each other's drug habits. They get drugs together. That's why they were both with their drug dealer. So what she's talking about there is a previous time in May when they used the same kinds of pills that he was taking the day that he was rushed to the hospital in March. So he had been taken to the hospital actually a few times because of drug overdoses on these same pills. So you heard her say, oh, he had a lot of energy from the pills, he played football, ... But the fact is that other times, other things have happened and he was rushed to the hospital. And she took him to the hospital on at least one of those occasions. So she was very intimately aware of his drug use and the harm that it caused to him, and that he was not in a good condition each time he took these pills. And you know how it goes. You don't need to be a medical professional to know that somebody who's a drug addict, they keep doing this, eventually it gets worse. Not eventually, very quickly. So let's take a look at video number 4.
And by similar experience, do you recall telling the FBI that when you had that, you felt like you were going to die?
I don't remember saying that, but I did see it in the transcript.
And is that how you felt, like you were going to die?
I don't remember feeling that way, no.
All right, so this is why he's talking about the transcript. She is trying to minimize this. She is saying, oh, he played football, he had a lot of energy when he used these pills. She told the FBI that she felt like she was going to die when she used these pills. And that's why he has to get this transcript. She also, I believe, was a witness when they held a grand jury hearing on this. And by the way, there are federal grand juries going on right now about this case, as we know. And I've talked about this before on the show. So she's testified in a number of venues, and she has testified to the FBI. There's the transcript, and she told the FBI she thought she was going to die. Now she's trying to say, oh, you know, these pills cause energy. He played football. He felt great. And she's trying to pretend that she never said she was going to die. Let's take a look at cut number 5.
Would it refresh your recollection to review a copy of your transcript?
Yes.
May I approve?
So this is to refresh your memory. There won't be a question before you at this time. So he'll go back and he'll ask a question once he returns.
Where does it say that he was buying drugs from her? That doesn't say buying.
I'm sorry?
It says getting drugs from her.
I need to grab one.
So you see, the defense attorney had to show her that transcript because she seems not to remember a lot of what she told them. She seems to be downplaying a lot of things. Let's take a look at the next clip.
And they were checking him out in the ER, and it was getting late, and I had to get home to my son, so I left that Friday night.
Did you later learn that that was due to an overdose?
Yes.
Object, Your Honor. Lack of personal knowledge.
Overruled.
You spent several days with him at the hospital, correct?
Yes.
And did you learn what caused that overdose?
No.
At that time frame, did you learn that Mr. Floyd was taking anything other than opioids?
No.
So you see, George Floyd was taken to the hospital because of an overdose, and it was so bad that he was in the hospital for several days. And we all know hospitals rush people out. So if he got over that overdose in a day, he'd be out of there. He was there for several days. She said she spent those days with him at the hospital. She also said, and we don't have this clip, but she also said that he was foaming at the mouth one of the times that she was at the hospital with him. So he had white stuff coming out of his mouth. That's not a guy who has a lot of energy from using drugs. That's a guy who's an addict who is taking amounts that could kill him and eventually did on that day in question. So I believe we have one last video clip. Let's take a look.
And then kind of going forward to May of 2020, was there a time when you thought he might be using again?
Yes.
And so in May, when you thought that, what led you to think that?
It was the same type of thing. Just behavior changes in Floyd.
And did you also kind of fall back to using opioids in May of 2020?
One time, yes.
And he was aware of that?
Yes.
So you heard her. She said that they tried to stop, but they both went back. They both relapsed. And she said that George Floyd was using drugs throughout May of 2020 when this happened. He was using opioids. He was using drugs that could and did kill him. All right, so there's that. Now, we told you about Maurice Hall, who won't testify, the drug dealer. There was somebody else who testified today who I think said some interesting things, and that was the clerk that waited on George Floyd at Cup Foods. The clerk that identified his $20 bill as being counterfeit, which is a felony, by the way, to use counterfeit money. And this clerk said that George Floyd was high when he was in the store, and he was acting weird. He didn't immediately leave the store. He was wandering around. These are all relevant things to what actually killed George Floyd, the drugs. All right, when we come back, we have a few other things about George Floyd, and if we have time, I would like to get into the bizarre story of Representative Matt Gaetz. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Do you worry about going to the dentist? After all, a visit to the dentist can easily cost $2,000 or more. Well, relax. The Carefree Dental Card is now available in your area. Call now and we'll send your actual card at no cost today. With the Carefree Dental Card, you go to the dentist whenever you need and you instantly pay a lot less. Activate your card and you can start using it immediately. From exams and cleanings to more expensive procedures like crowns, dentures, even braces, they're all included with the Carefree Dental Card. Say you go to the dentist today without any card and your bill is, well, ouch. Wait a minute, let's try that again. You go to the dentist today and show your Carefree Dental Card, you save $525. The Carefree Dental Card is just $15.95 a month, so call now and make going to the dentist carefree.
Call 1-800-416-5739 to receive your Carefree Dental Card information kit. 1-800-416-5739. Call now.
Beck Communications is now hiring independent sales agents around the state. We're looking for highly motivated individuals to take advantage of this opportunity, selling advertising for our news and sports programming on Beck TV and sponsorships for the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team. Independent sales agents will make 50% commission on their completed sales for all products. Beck TV is the leader in broadcasting local sports, owner of the Bismarck Bucks indoor football team, and originator of newly launched news opinion programming. Submit your application now at careers@bechtel.coop. This is an exciting opportunity you can't pass up. 50% commission for independent sales agents now hiring at Beck Communications.
I can't say enough good things about these nano hearing aids.
Real people talking about nano hearing aids.
The hearing quality is great.
Until now, hearing aids used to be too expensive for the average person. Until nano. Call now and you'll get your nano hearing aids for only $297. You'll save $100. When you buy one hearing aid, Nano will give you a second hearing aid free. Call right now.
1-800-213-3815.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Attention! Have you or a loved one suffered from maculopathy, a serious retinal injury, after taking the prescription drug Elmiron for interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome? In 2018, a researcher at the Emory School of Medicine linked Elmiron, a prescription drug that treats interstitial cystitis or bladder pain syndrome, to maculopathy, which is sight-threatening and can cause an abrupt change of vision. Call Elmiron Justice for a free legal consultation.
Please call 800-395-5680.
Finishing up about the George Floyd trial, and by the way, welcome back to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Beck. I have a few questions, and there are a lot of things that are being focused on and not focused on at this trial. I would like to know, where exactly was Derrick Chauvin's knee at various times, because there has been testimony today and yesterday by EMT officials and others that Derrick Chauvin's knee was at some point on George Floyd's shoulder and on his back, not on his neck. The other question is it possible really to be asphyxiated when somebody's knee is on the back of your neck where your spine is and connects with your neck and your head? Is it possible to be asphyxiated? Usually asphyxiation requires something crushing the front of the neck. Now, that's not to say that George Floyd's front of his neck wasn't crushing against the cement. We don't know. We also don't know, and there has been varying testimony so far about this, where Derrick Chauvin's foot was, how much pressure was on George Floyd's back. The only people that know that are Derrick Chauvin and George Floyd. One of them isn't here anymore. The other one isn't testifying, and I don't think will at this trial. So none of these people watching the video know if the knee was really applying that kind of pressure to cause him to be asphyxiated. And we may never know that. Like I said, the first autopsy doesn't say that is the cause. And you would think that a good medical examiner, which by all accounts this examiner was, would know if the neck was crushed in the front, if there was asphyxiation. He does not say that there is. So there's that. Then there is one of my least favorite celebrities. I just don't even know why she's famous, and that is Chelsea Handler. She's supposed to be a comedian. She's not funny. She's supposed to be an actress. She's a talentless hack. And she put up a tweet. She doesn't believe Derrick Chauvin should have a trial. Take a look. Look at this. So she said it's so pathetic that there's a trial to prove that Derrick Chauvin killed George Floyd when there's video of him doing so. There's not video of that. There's video of his knee on George Floyd. That's it. There's no video saying, oh, this was the cause of his death. So I responded, can't wait until legal scholar Chelsea Handler gets charged with something so we can skip the trial and just lock her up. Lock her up. Isn't it funny how liberals want so quickly to do away with the most basic constitutional rights that they used to vehemently defend? They used to be the ones for this. Talentless hack equals Chelsea Handler. Also, there's more information about her you may not be aware of. So take a look at this, my other tweet about this. So Chelsea Handler went to a dinner party at Jeffrey Epstein's island even after he was convicted of soliciting child prostitutes, which we know they weren't prostitutes. He trafficked in young girls that he preyed on. So even after he got out of prison for this, and people who knew him knew, she went to Epstein's island, where a lot of these rapes took place. And I said, all you ever need to know about her is that in one sentence. Plus, she's a fan of the racist bigot Louis Farrakhan, who has attacked whites, Asians, Arabs, Jews, big time, Christians. He does not like anybody except blacks. He's a black supremacist. And that she has made excuses for him. That's the kind of person that is, that doesn't want every American, no matter how heinous we think they are, or what we think they've done, every American deserves a trial. We give trials to Islamic terrorists who mass murdered Americans on purpose. And this guy can't get a fair trial, please. She probably wants to sleep with those mass murderer terrorists because she talks about this kind of stuff all the time, and her sex life on Twitter, and her sex life with 50 Cent and others. She's just a disgusting, despicable, lowlife human being. I think she's human. I don't know. Only her medical doctors know for sure. So that's her. Now, Duke University is investigating something. This is really ridiculous. We told you a while ago that North Dakota State University was investigating because somebody left a fiction book about what happened when the Nazis took over America. You know, it's an alternative history plot line, and there actually was a TV show, The Man in the High Tower, that has a similar storyline, and NDSU started investigating because it might offend someone. Now Duke is investigating because somebody taped or tacked on the George Floyd autopsy onto a bulletin board for Black History Month, and they say it's racist because you can't do that. This is a public record. This is a factual record done by a medical examiner. Does not mention race, except for I'm sure there's something on every medical examiner report where you have to identify the race of the decedent. It does not mention race. Other than that, it's not racist. This is absurd. And by the way, one last thing about this. Los Angeles is now spending $36 million on new police. Why? Because they were part of this whole ridiculous post-George Floyd defund the police movement. And you know what happens when we defund the police? Crime goes way, way up, and it's gone way up in Los Angeles, the city, and Los Angeles, the county. Just like in Minneapolis, Stan, where they're now doing the same thing because they defunded the police and everything went way up. Murders and everything else. All right, so there's that. Now, even though it's not Friday, it is right before the holidays, and we have our No Filter movie reviews. And out this week is Godzilla vs. Kong. I watched this movie. I was really underwhelmed by it. I felt like this movie was a repeat. It constantly repeated. The plot line, you don't watch a King Kong movie for the plot line, but it wasn't that great. I gave it a half a Reagan. Why? Because when you go see a King Kong movie, you see it not for the plot. You see it for the special effects. I was kind of underwhelmed by the CGI of it, but it is what you would expect. There's lots of fighting between King Kong and Godzilla, and there's even another Godzilla. There are like 3 Godzillas in this movie, so there's a lot of Godzilla, which was my complaint about previous Godzilla movies. There wasn't enough Godzilla. There's plenty in this. Half a Reagan. And then finally, there is French Exit, which is a movie that I reviewed on this show before. I didn't care for it. It's a rich widow. Her money is running out because her wealthy husband only left her so much. She spent it all very profligately, and she decides to escape to France with her son. They're very weird people. This is a very quirky movie. I thought it was going to be cool, and in fact, it instead turned out to be a stupid New Age movie that doesn't make sense and was a waste of my and your time. Don't waste it. 2 Marxes. All right, now, before we leave for the Easter weekend, I want to wish everybody a happy Easter, happy Passover, still going on to the few Jews in North Dakota. And also, Angela Merkel tried to stop Easter in Germany, the German chancellor, because she said that COVID, and there was a backlash. She had to backtrack. Remember, things aren't always as they seem. See you next week.